Bearded Appliance Repair here, and we got a Samsung dryer with a no heating issue. We're going to go through this whole repair, diagnosing it. It happened to be the element, but there's a few other tips that I'm going to tell you about once we get into this thing. But first thing we got to do is get to the element, which we got to take off this top here. There's 2 Phillips head screws, and that top just pops off. You push it back. Sometimes it wants to be a little stubborn, so you got to give it a good push. After you get that off, then we're going to get this control panel off. You just pull from the top, and it likes to be stubborn, but if you give it enough, I mean, it'll eventually break free. And then you got some harnesses you got to take care of on the right hand side. Also, you do want to have this thing unplugged whenever you're taking this thing apart. But after you get that control panel off, there's 4 screws up top. Then we're gonna open the door, and there's 2 more screws we gotta take out. And those screws, they have washers on them. So remember where those go, because those are the only 2 that are really different. Get that lint screen out of the way, and we can get this front off. There is some tabs you got to push down. Once you get those tabs pushed in, you got to get that door switch off, and then that's it. Front comes off. Next, we are going to take that metal bracket on the top off. There's 5 screws. There's 1 where the control panel is hooked up at, and then 2 on the left. One's in front, one's on top, and then the same on the right. One's in front, one's on top. You get those off, and that bracket will come out. Once that bracket's off, you do got these wire ties. You take those wire ties off, and then that comes off. And you got some more wire ties. After you get those wire ties, there's that ducting, and there's 3 screws, 1 on the right, 2 on the left, and you want to pull it out from the bottom and pull down, and then that ducting will break free. While you have this thing apart, I mean, you can go ahead and vacuum all this too. You know about this, the fire hazards that these dryers have, so whenever you have this thing apart, just pull over a vacuum and give it a good cleaning. But as you can see, take out those 4 screws there, and then to get this off, you lift it up and pull towards you. There is a harness down there at the bottom. Don't forget about that. Now next, we're going to take this belt off. I'm just going to let you guys watch this. It's a lot harder getting it back on than it is getting it off. I don't have a good video of me getting it back on, but once you break that free, that basket comes out, and you can use that belt as a little handle. And then boom, we have made it to our element. And you will need a multimeter for this, testing continuity, so we can see if this element is bad. But before you do it, you want to take off, I like to take off that red lead there, and then you can test it all. You can test your thermal fuse, your element, and that thermostat there. I'm putting it on the audible setting, and you'll notice here, silent, no continuity. So that means we have a bad element. And if you hear these beeps here, you knew all those are good. And if, say, it's not heating and the element tests good, check that fuse in the back. That's the second most likely thing. But in this case, it was the element that is bad. And if you happen to need an element, it comes with everything anyways. It comes with, well, this particular part number, dc97-14486 alpha. Comes with the element, the housing, the thermostat, and the thermal fuse. It's beautiful. So if you're having a heating problem, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be this. You do want to get in there and check it though, because say all this stuff tests good, you may have a bad relay on the control board. So make sure you get down in there and test these things. But this is what a good element sounds like. And then again on those other parts. But if you just get this element, I mean, it'll take care of all of it for you. I'll have this element down in the description. The element you can just swap out in the thermal fuse. Most of the time, that thermostat, it don't go bad. But to replace this, I mean, you just got to take off all the wiring right here on all of these. And they can be stubborn. You may need to get some needle nose to get some of this stuff off, or a screwdriver like I got. But once you get that off, there's 2 screws holding that element in, and I'm just going to let you guys watch it. And one other thing, elements, all they are is a wire. When power's applied to it, it just heats up. So if it's element's bad, it's a broken wire. And you can see I pulled up the broken part. You can see it right there. Just something I like to see occasionally and show customers, like, hey, this is what a bad element looks like. Anyways, we're gonna get this new element in, and I'm just gonna let you guys watch it the rest of the way. If you can remember how to get it back together the way you took it apart, great. But if not, you guys can watch this. But that's how you diagnose a heating element, by taking this thing apart, which is the hardest part, and just testing these parts. And if you guys have any questions, I mean, shoot a comment down below. I'll help where I can. Also, I will have a few more tips near the end of this video as we come up on things like the door switch, and also what to look for after everything's put together during the test at the end of this. So y'all stay tuned for those professional tips. So I'll be back whenever those come up. One important tip real quick, that door switch, do not forget to plug that in. I know when I first started, I would constantly forget to plug that door switch in. I'd get this thing all the way back together. I'd start it and get a door error. This thing would not start because it thought the door was open. Anyways, don't forget about that. And the harness below. That harness below is for the automated sensing bars. If you don't plug that in and you're on the automatic dry setting, it'll turn off in about 15 minutes because it won't sense any moisture on the inside of it. And it'll stop if there's no moisture because it thinks the clothes are dry. Anyways, those are some quick tips for you. But we got one last tip for you here at the end as we finish up during the test. So that'll come up soon. Alright, one last tip for you. Before you put that top on, you want to test this thing and make sure it's working properly. With that top off, you can turn all the lights in the room and you'll be able to see that element come on. You'll see an orange glow. And what you want to see is the element come on. It may take a good 5 minutes or so to heat up to 150 degrees, and then it'll turn off. And then after a minute or so, it'll turn back on. And then after another minute or so, it'll turn back off. And that's what you want to see. You want to make sure element cuts on, cuts off, cuts on, cuts off. If it stays on, you'll experience long dry times, because the more heat that's trapped on the inside of it, the more humidity it'll cause, and your clothes will just take forever to get dry. But yeah, make sure element cuts on and off, on and off, on and off. If it doesn't, there's some more things you can check. But anyways, that's it. Just check that after everything's all said and done. If that's good to go, that's it. You're done. Dryer's fixed. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.